Hello everyone. Today I thought we would talk about Embarkation Day for your Disney cruise. I get a lot of questions about Embarkation Day and what to expect because there's a lot happening that day. There is a lot of anticipation for that day, and there should be. It's the day you've waited for a very long time, and it's finally here. The big day is finally here. Your cruise is finally here. My friends just told me last week on the Destiny Maiden Voyage that there are two different Tammys that they know. There is regular Tammy and there is Embarkation Day Tammy. And apparently those are two different things because Embarkation Day Tammy is very excited and also has a lot that I want to get done. And I have a hard time sitting still that day. I want to make sure I've checked off everything on my to-do list. I've gone to see everything I want to see. I've done all the changes that I may need to do, and then I can relax and let my cruise take over. And it's a great feeling once you can relax and enjoy. So a little bit of preparation hopefully will help you relax and enjoy even sooner. The first thing you're going to have is a port arrival time. Your port arrival time is different than your boarding time, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But your port arrival time is what time you have chosen or been assigned to arrive at the port. That time is chosen for you, or you choose it, I should say, during your online check-in, at the end of online check-in. So depending on when you were able to do your online check-in or when you completed your online check-in, there were different options available for what time you wanted to arrive. I would say, unless you know for sure that you're not going to get there until 1 o'clock or later, later in the afternoon, I would pick the earliest time they have available in general. And that is because even though your port arrival time is different than your boarding time, your port arrival time does affect your boarding time. The earlier your port arrival time, the lower number boarding group you will have. And so I like to pick the earliest port arrival time so I can get a low boarding group number, just in case. It will cut down on your wait in the terminal, usually. If you are a sailing concierge, you do not have to pick a port arrival time. You can arrive anytime you would like after the port is open. And same if you are a Pearl Castaway Club level sailor, which means you have sailed with Disney more than 25 times. Pearl Castaway Club members do not have to pick a port arrival time either. They will be some of the first people on the ship as well as concierge. So your port arrival time, they usually will start 10:30, 10:45, somewhere in that time frame. And different terminals, will change that, but that's roughly when they start. When you arrive, there are going to be lines based on that time. And so if you get there very early, then you may end up waiting in a line for quite a while in a line with the other people from that time. Disney started enforcing these times a few years ago, and they're pretty strict. There's times when you will get in earlier than your time, and that is if the terminal happens to clear out a little bit earlier, maybe not as many people showed up early. So there are times you'll get in early, but in general, you're going to get in around that time that you've been assigned, and getting there early will just increase the time that you're standing outside. So I don't really recommend getting there early, maybe 15 minutes or so early, but not too early for that. It's not going to help you much. It's just going to increase your waits for the day, which is not all that fun. Okay, so once you arrive at the port, the first thing you're going to do is take care of your luggage. Now, if you're on Disney transfers you've probably already given up your luggage at that point. Whether it's in your Disney World hotel room, if you were staying at Disney World the night before sailing from Port Canaveral, or whether it's from the hotel that you booked through Disney and stayed with them, or if it's just you went down to the bus and you handed the bus driver, your luggage, they take care of it. So you won't see that luggage again until you get on board and it's in your stateroom. It'll appear in your stateroom usually later that afternoon, usually a couple hours later. It could be pretty early, but it could be there as late as 4:30, 5 o'clock. So you need to be prepared for what you're keeping with you and what you're sending with your luggage. If you're driving or if you're arriving by private car service, Uber, Lyft, any of those, you will drop off your luggage before you park, before anything else. You will pull up to the porters that are standing there waiting to collect your bags, and they will make sure all of your bags are tagged and give you some instructions. Be prepared for a cash gratuity for those porters. I hate to give you an amount here, but I would say we usually give them a minimum of $10, and it will work our way up from there depending on how many bags we're dropping off. So what they're going to tell you not to give them is do not give them your citizenship documents, passports, birth certificates, whatever you're using to get on board. Not to give them anything you need that day, like prescription medications. You always keep those with you just in case anyway, just like an airline type situation. Not to drop off anything you may need for dinner or for that afternoon. So you should have your luggage by dinner, but there's a chance you won't. And so you hate to count on that and then not have it. Perhaps you're dining at one of the upcharge restaurants that night for adults, or if you had special themed clothes that you wanted to wear to your particular restaurant that night, you want to keep those with you just in case. So they might warn you of that. And also, if you have any liquids that you're bringing on board in the form of drinks, not shampoo, things like that, you can give those to the porter. But if you're bringing a case of water or perhaps your bottles of wine that you're allotted to bring on, those you're going to have to keep with you. And that's basically just they don't want to accidentally break something and it spills all over your luggage, maybe somebody else's as well. So you are going to have to keep those things with you, and you are going to have them for a while. So you might want to work out how you're going to be dragging those around. Will they fit in your rolling carry-on? Whatever it is, work that up beforehand in your head. But they will remind you of all of that, and then you're going to leave the rest of your bags with them and make your way over to the line or inside the terminal if the terminal is open by then. So once your line has been called, or if you happen to get there after your port arrival time, you'll be called to enter into the terminal. You will be directed to a check-in line, and there are a couple of different options if you've sailed before, if you're concierge. There's a couple of different line options there. You'll get in line and you'll go right up to the desk and you'll check in. They'll ask to see your proof of citizenship. They will give you some instructions for the afternoon. And it's a pretty quick process. They're going to check everybody's pictures, things like that. So it's a pretty quick process. After you've done that, they'll direct you to security, and you're going to go through a light security. There is an X-ray machine and a metal detector that you're going to walk through. And after you're through that, you will be inside the terminal. There are a lot of chairs there to wait in, which is great. And also, if you happen to want to check on stateroom upgrades, then you'll make your way over to the supervisor's desk right away, immediately, as soon as you get through security. Get in line for the supervisor's desk if you're hoping to get a stateroom upgrade. They're not available all the time, but when they are, there are some good discounts to be had on some upgrades. And once they run out, they're going to put up a sign that says there are no more available. So if there are any available, wait in line and see what you can get. After that, you're going to go sit down and make yourself comfortable for however long of a wait you may have. While you are waiting for your boarding group number to be called, there are a few things that you might want to do. I like to connect to the Wi-Fi, register for an account, the ship Wi-Fi, register for an account, and this is not purchasing internet at this point. This is just registering for an account for the navigator. And start checking things that I want to do. I will start looking for the daily activities, favoriting things I don't want to miss, seeing what my dining rotation is. I can find that out and make sure that's aligned with what I'm hoping it will be. It doesn't conflict with Palo or something like that. Maybe if I need to get something fixed, I'll know it then. I'll look at it. And we'll also list places that you might want, if you want to get something changed, like your dining time, or if you want to try to book Palo brunch, maybe you didn't get it, or maybe you want to change the time of it. Navigator app, the daily activities, will tell you what location to go to make those changes. Even if you have been on this ship before and you went to do this in a certain location, it does change. So I would definitely check that to make sure it's still where you're expecting it to be, the dining location changes. Go there after you get on board and line up to make those changes. So you also, maybe there are some things that you wanted to get that you didn't beforehand that are available to book in the app once you've logged in. One thing you may be able to find is the Royal Gathering. Often, the Royal Gathering is full when you're trying to get it before you board. It fills up very, very quickly, but some spots are held back on board. And so if you log into the app and look right away, once you get to the port, you may be able to snag one right then. Which is a happy little surprise if you've been looking for it. Usually Boarding begins around 11:30-ish. Now that can vary, especially if a different sailing before you happened, like maybe it was a transatlantic. Sometimes they'll take a little bit longer to clear customs and whatnot, so it will take a little bit longer and you won't actually start boarding at 11:30. But usually around 11:30, cast members, often when you're checking in, will tell you it won't start till 12:30 or 1. That's not true. And it's not that they're lying to you. I think they're just lowering your expectations so you don't get upset if you're not boarding, before those times. Just FYI, it's usually not that long. They'll start calling numbers. First, the back-to-back cruisers, the cruisers that were on the sailing before yours and are getting right back on, they get on first, and they're usually not even called. You may not even notice this group of people gets up and they just get back on. And concierge and the family of the day are going to go first. The family of the day first, then concierge. After that, they're going to start calling boarding numbers 1, 2, 3, up to 40. And they tend to go every 5 minutes or so, 1, and 5 minutes later 2, roughly. It just depends on how quickly people are getting on and getting through that initial process there. Okay, so once your number has been called, you're going to line up, swim through a sea of people, all blocking your entrance probably because everyone's excited and wants to get on board as well. And you're going to pass the photographers that are taking Embarkation Day photos. Embarkation Day photos are fun. They're a fun way to start your cruise. Embarkation Day, Tammy does not love to stop and take those photos because I'm so anxious to get on board. But they are good family photos. They're sometimes the only family photos that we get because we're so busy the rest of the time that we forget to stop and do it. So it's a good time to take a good family picture. You're under no obligation to buy it. Just take it and check it later to see if you like it. After you have taken your photo, or not taken your photo, you can politely decline and keep moving if you want to. Once you get on the gangway and up to the ship, a crew member is going to be standing there with a microphone asking your family name, and they are going to announce you onto the ship. They are going to say something along the lines of, Disney Magic welcomes the Whiting family, and there's several crew members on board right there. They're all going to clap and cheer for you as you get on, which is a fun way to start your vacation. After you're on, if you wanted to make any of those dining changes, I'd like to go to that location right away. It's not usually open until noon or 12:30 or so, but in reality, it's not enough time for me to get on, go to a restaurant, sit down, eat. I have to get up in the middle of the meal to go get in line. So I tend to go there first and just wait to get it changed. Usually I'm one of the first people in line if I do it that way. I get my change and then we go to lunch, or I go meet the rest of my family at lunch if they've gone on without me. Another thing you might want to do right when you board is go look for spa reservations. Spa reservations, you can take a tour of the spa. They have some giveaways that afternoon as well, and you can try to get some spa reservations if you didn't do that beforehand. There are a few options for lunch. If you're concierge, you will have a special concierge sit-down lunch that you can take advantage of if you would like. You can also go to the concierge lounge for some snacks and some light bites there if you don't want to sit down for a full lunch at that point. You can go up to the pool deck. The pool deck food opens usually 12:30, somewhere in there, and they've got, chicken fingers, hot dogs. They've got all the pool deck food there, pizza, things like that. If you want something along those lines, you can also go to the buffet, which will be Cabanas or Marceline, depending on which ship you are on. Or you can, if you'd like a more relaxed experience, you could go to, there will be one of the table service restaurants will be open as well. One tip about the table service restaurants on Embarkation Day is that I'm not sure if they are trying to keep a long line from forming, but we have often found that they overestimate your wait on that. Meaning we will walk up, and if we're not some of the first people there, we'll walk up and they'll say, okay, it's going to be about 30 minutes. And your first instinct is, no, thank you, I will go up to the buffet or do something else. In reality, when we have stopped to wait, it's 5 or less. I can't guarantee that will happen, but there's a chance that wait is going to be a lot less than you think it is. So I would, if you have your heart set on that, I would say yes, you will wait. Stand there for a few minutes and see if they do call you relatively quickly. And if not, you can always scratch it at some point and go on up and eat somewhere else. So after lunch, your staterooms are not going to be ready till around 1:30 usually. So after lunch, you probably are still going to have a little bit more time to kill. I think it's a great time to go explore the ship. It's a fun time to go see the kids clubs. It's there. You can also go register your kids. Then their line will be kind of long for registration probably, so you may want to hold off on that. But either way, you can go just check out the clubs, walk around. If you don't have any kids, they're fun to go see all the fun things the kids have to do there and explore and see what those are like. Just make your way around the ship, see what's happening. You check out the activities and some activities are going to start right away. There's some trivia that'll start right away. There are movies that will start very early. There's a lot of things that are going to already start now, even if your stateroom's not ready yet. So those are some fun things to do to kill some time. After your stateroom is ready and you've dropped things off, really the only other obligation you have for the rest of the day is the muster drill. The muster drill is mandatory for every single person on board. And it will be around 3:30, 3:45, somewhere in there. They'll let you know. They're not going to let you forget it. And you will go stand somewhere, sit somewhere, depending on where your muster station is. And it's not a fast process usually. The actual drill is very short, 5 minutes maybe. But waiting for everyone to get there, waiting for everyone to get checked in, that can take a while. So be prepared for a little bit of patience. It's also, after the muster drill is over, it's also one of the worst bottlenecks that you'll find on the ship of your entire cruise. Everyone on the ship is finishing the muster drill at the exact same time, which means every single person on the ship at that exact same time is trying to get back to their staterooms or up to the pool deck for the sail away party, which means elevators and the elevator halls are very, very crowded. So you'll need to be really patient with that. If you don't mind staying wherever your muster is for a little while and just, hanging out, taking pictures, if you're out on deck, something like that, maybe you can find something on that deck that you want to go walk and do, or maybe you just want to take the stairs, even those won't take as long. But the elevators are going to be a big wait right after the muster. But the good news is, that's the worst it'll be. There will never be every single person on that ship doing the exact same thing at that moment later in the cruise. So after the muster drill is over, the sail away party will happen not too long after that. It's a very fun way to start your cruise, to get the excitement going. I highly recommend it, especially if it's your first cruise. And then not too long after you actually sail away, the dining times will start, as well as the early show will start not too long after that. So everything's getting going. That's Embarkation Day. Let me know if you have any questions.